So if you're in the market for a new luxury villa here in Phuket, you've probably already realized that there are a lot of new projects on the market right now. Now, some of these projects are top quality, like the three that we're going to talk about today. But on the flip side of the coin, there are certain projects that are to be avoided. You know, some particular projects have been on the market for a couple of years and they've only sold like 3 or 4 villas. So those are definitely not the sort of villa projects you want to be buying into. So we're going to talk about the top 3 villa projects in Phuket. But before we get into it, let's talk a little bit about what makes a good villa project. Now, James has been in the property business for almost 2 decades. Don't worry, I'm not going to give away your age. But he has worked closely with developers in his home country in South Africa and here in Thailand. So talk to us a little bit to begin with, James, about what makes a good villa project.
Yeah. Okay, so perfect. The first thing you need to consider when you're considering buying in Phuket is location. As the adage goes, location, location, location. I don't know if you want to say something about some of the properties that we're going to present, about their location, close proximity to schools, close proximity to restaurants, cafes, or notable points of interest.
Sure. I mean, a lot of people think that when you're buying a property in Phuket, buy it near the beach with a sea view. Now, those pointers are definitely, you know, tick boxes, but it's not the only reason people are buying here in Phuket. With the growing international community, being close to schools is a massive one, you know?
Yeah,
I talk about this in one of my previous videos. You don't want to be spending an hour doing the school run every single day. So,
hour there and back.
Exactly. It's 2 hours out of your day. So choosing a villa that is strategic to a school that your children are in, or even if you're buying for investment, the properties near schools always rent out with very, very good rental rates. So absolutely, location is very, very important. Something else that's important that we can touch on is the reputation of the developer.
Absolutely.
Now, this is, I mean, arguably the most important. If you're buying off plan, you need to be 1,000,000,000% confident that you're going to be getting a finished product, you know?
Correct.
Now, villas here in Phuket, a quality finished product, of course. Now, villas here in Phuket, typically, if you're buying off plan, will take between 12 to 18 months to build. Now, what you don't want is to be living on a building site for 2 years because the project's not selling. So developer profile is absolutely essential. James, maybe touch on that a little bit for us.
Yeah, absolutely. You need to do your research when you're looking at the developer profile. You need to understand how long they've been in the market. You'll need to understand if they've built before, how many have they built, did they deliver on time? And then also, another important thing is the due diligence process. You need to get a reputable law firm to do a due diligence report on the project before you make a decision to buy. That will then tell you if there's any debt on the company, if there's any debt on the land, if the developer owns the land outright, and if the project will finish, if they have enough capital in the company to finish the project.
Absolutely. And any good developer will probably encourage you to do that.
Absolutely.
Certainly any good agent will encourage you to do that. So that's another point. I think one more point before we dive into the top 3 is the management of the property or the project after handover. You know, we see certain projects that, you know, they've been open for 2 years and they look like they're 10 years old because the common area fees being misspent, they're not looking after the place. Whereas certain properties, you know, Anantara and Andara being one that springs to mind, that they're about 15 years old, but you walk in and it's immaculate, it looks brand new. So James, why don't you touch on that for us?
Yeah, so there's certain developers and projects in Thailand where it's one-off developers. So they'll come into the market, they'll build their project, they'll sell it out, and they'll leave. And they'll hand over the management to someone else that hasn't had emotional input into the project, if I can put it that way. So the project that we're about to present have their emotions put into the project. One of the developers live on site. The other project is owned by the company is owned by the family that also built Trisara. So we'll go into that in just a bit. But these people have bled blood, sweat, and tears into the project. So they love it. They'll make sure that the owners are looked after and that the properties are looked after and maintained very well.
They're all very personal developers,
Yes.
the three that we're going to introduce you to today. They're not just cookie cutter villas building for profit, which is happening a lot here in Phuket.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit about what makes a good villa project here in Phuket. Now let's dive into the top 3 new villa projects here in Phuket. And in at number 3 is the project that we are sitting in today, Vista Del Mar, an absolutely beautiful show villa. And the Vista Del Mar team are absolutely great to work with. We've brought a lot of clients to show them this place and helped a few clients to buy here as well. Now there are several reasons why we love this project. Let's touch on the first one, which is location. Now, Vista Del Mar is, I believe I'm right in saying, 600 meters to the beach. You know, you can be there in 3 minutes. It's located up in Nai Ton Beach, where there's a lot of high-end property, some very, very nice hotels around here. The location is absolutely premium if you're looking for something close to the beach, but it's also pretty close to UWC school. So it's popular with UWC families. You could be there within 25 minutes. So prime location. James, touch on another reason why we like this project.
So not only is the location great, where Vista Del Mar is situated on top of a hill, you have uninterrupted sea views with a bit of a tree line, but it's absolutely stunning. So all the villas have sea views, but what makes it very unique is the value derived out of these villas. These sea view villas are the most affordable price per square meter villas, new build villas, in Phuket at the moment.
That's true.
There aren't that many sea view villas being built, and there's a hefty sea view levy on the majority of these new projects. Vista Del Mar is also one of the projects where the developer lives on site. So not only is he emotionally invested into the project, he wants to be friends with the people that buy within the estate. So that's just to touch a bit on the value of the property.
Sure.
Maybe you can mention another.
I mean, James is right when he says there is a limited amount of sea view villas available right now in Phuket, particularly on the west coast. I mean, I was just scanning my listings in my head there. Down in Kamala, we've got the Montezuma project. I believe the sea view one in there is 200 million.
Yeah.
There's another one down in Layan, which starts at 50 million. Here at Vista Del Mar, the sea view villas start from 37 million Thai baht, which is a little bit over $1 million. And,
for a 3-bed.
You know, for a 3-bed, and they don't crimp on quality, you know, very, very high quality, and a very, very personal developer as well. You know, the team here at Vista Del Mar, the developer will sit down with you and your clients, you can make changes, and they work with you every step of the way. So ticks a lot of boxes, very, very great family-orientated villa project in a top location. So number 3, Vista Del Mar. All right, so in at number 2 is, I know James absolutely loves this project, so do
One of my
I.
favorite.
It is Tree Vananda. Now, we made a video about Tree Vananda, when was it?
A few months ago.
A few months ago,
Yeah.
and I mean, where to start about this project? It is on a different scale. Now, it's by the same developers as Trisara, which is the ultimate luxury here in Phuket. It's actually on the other side of the bay there. Now, if you don't know about Trisara, I'll put some B-roll over the top of a couple of villas that we've got in there, but it is the epitome of luxury, you know, properties in there starting at $4 million all the way up to 30 million US dollars. So some really fantastic properties. Now, Tree Vananda is their second project here in Phuket, and it is huge. It is on 1 million square meters of land. So there are so many reasons why we love Tree Vananda. James, why don't you touch on a few?
Yeah, it's a huge plot of land. 70% is allocated to green space, and the facilities will be phenomenal.
Sure.
They'll have a clinic on there for anti-aging, stem cell research, and generational health. They've got a Michelin star restaurant, an organic farm, 7 lakes that you can jog around, a 13-kilometer jogging track. And that's only to mention a few. There's kids club, gyms, spa.
They've really gone to town with the
Yeah, that's
facilities.
correct.
And also, to come back to our original points of what makes a good villa project, the property management is second to none. They've got a huge team. I mean, they've got to have a pretty big team to, manage 1 million square meters. But when you go in there, every single time there's people working on the land. They've even got a tree nursery in there, which produces 100,000 trees per year for them and the Trisara Hotel. So they're also, it's worth saying, carbon neutral, which they've got all the certification for the carbon neutral as well.
That's
so
correct.
a truly unique project. So
the most unique project in Phuket, I'd say.
I would agree with you. Yeah, absolutely amazing. Definitely worth a look. Now, also, before we move on to the first one more point. On the 1 million square meters, there are only 70 residential villas. So extremely exclusive.
Yeah.
Anyway, James, anything you want to add on Vananda?
No, I think that's it. I think we can move on to the next one.
Okay.
If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments, of course. But yeah, let's move on to number one.
And on we go to number one. So in at the top spot at number one, we've got Punyisa Villas. Now, Punyisa Villas has got various different locations now, but the design is the same on all the locations, and the design and quality is second to none. Absolutely superb. Now, the Punyisa brand was launched about 3 years ago. However, the team behind Punyisa have been in Phuket for decades. The founder, Kun Mary, was born here in Phuket. Her brother actually has a construction company who deals with all the builds. Kun Mary actually has her own furniture company. She designs and makes furniture for all of the villas. And it has to be said that the quality is second to none. Now, everything inside the villas is handmade. The art on the walls is handmade. Quite a lot of it. The lampshades,
the light fittings, everything.
They're truly unique. The big pitched roofs make it almost look palatial. I'll put some B-roll over the top so you can see the style. But when you're driving up to the project, you see these beautiful big roofs. You drive in, and then when you walk into the villas, it's got such a warm, lovely feel. The design is absolutely beautiful. Whenever you take a client there, they want to buy one. They're blown away by it. So they started off with a location in Bangzhou, which sold very, very quickly. There's maybe 1 or 2 villas left there now, but they've started expanding to a handful of other locations. So James, tell us a little bit about the new Punyisa locations.
Yeah, perfect. So Bangzhou was the original one. They've expanded into Layan to be closer to the beach side. They've just launched with a new one in Manique in a project called Mira Valley, which is going to be the next epitome of lifestyle in Phuket, in the mountains. Beautiful. And then the last one that they're about to launch is in the north side of Phuket in Pak Lok, close to Mission Hills Golf Estate.
It is, and that one's a very interesting one, actually. It's not too far away from the new hospital, the Bumrungrad International Hospital. It's pretty close to UWC. It's right next to the Mission Hills Golf Course, and the entry price there is around 68 million baht. Now, for the quality that you get, that is an absolute bargain. You walk into these villas, people have said to me that it's like walking into a Hollywood movie star's villa.
That's correct.
Literally every client we take to Punyisa wants to buy one. As soon as you walk in, you fall in love with the property. A beautiful, warm design that really was designed with love, right?
Yeah, by Mary herself.
Sure.
Absolutely.
So guys, there you have it. The top 3 new villa projects in Phuket. At number 3, the wonderful Vista Del Mar. Thank you to the Vista Del Mar team for letting us use your beautiful villa today. In at number 2 is Vananda, and at the top spot is Punyisa Villas. So if you're interested in receiving information about any of the 3 projects we've shown you in today's video, I've left links in the description to the listings on our website, or you can reach out to us using our links that are on the screen right now. With that said, thanks for watching, and as always, we'll see you in the next video.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Thank you.